It's staged, obviously, but I think we did that at the same
I think
time.
we did. I think we got pretty damn synchronized on that. Can you just do me a favor, turn off the overhead lights?
Hang on, turn them off real quick because I am curious about what the lighting is like if we leave both on. Back on. Sorry, you stand by the switch for a second. Off. On.
It's just a little bit. It affects our highlights more than anything.
Yeah.
I would rather shoot with them off just
Okay.
because that one in the back fizzles every now and again.
Ow, fuck.
You looked in the
at the
lights,
lights.
yeah. I've done that
that's
many
smart.
a time. I made a bit out of doing that actually for our broadcast class because every time these lights would come on, I just happened to be looking up and then he'd turn them on and I'd go, ah, fuck. It was a good bit.
The dots are still on.
Oh, it'll take a while for them to leave, yeah.
There was
See-
one night I had a headache. Like the for like the rest of the night
After we did one
after
of
we
these,
were recording. And I was like,
My
"Good
bad.
Lord." No, you're good.
my bad.
It's because I look up there. I need to stop. It's like,
We need to get sunglasses.
Loki.
All right, bye, buddy. Thanks for
Thank
the
you,
help.
Holt. Love you.
Our wonderful executive producer, Holt Hendershot, leaving. Before we get started on either of the episodes, is kind of a VOD exclusive. How you doing, man?
Yeah. For those who are not college students or are not aware of the current schedule, we have 3 weeks left in the semester. Not really 3 whole weeks because we've got today. We're recording on a Monday.
Yes.
To try to get the Thanksgiving games out in time. But yeah, we got 3 weeks left in the semester. I have 3 major projects to do. Not really too concerned about anything though. A bunch of minor assignments. I really kind of just need to like lock in for like an 8-hour window.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. We both have to do our physics project.
Man, that'll take like 15 minutes.
I have to do a business of filmmaking project. It's a slideshow, but there's information that I need to like get down. I'm hoping to work on that today in class. And then I have to do some meaningful stuff for my capstone before the end of the semester. So fingers crossed, we'll get everything done that we need to.
Say your capstone is recording your reactions to football games?
No, not anymore. It's now an animated.
Oh, that sucks.
No, as entertaining as that would have been,
Last night would have made for a great.
last night would have made
yesterday
for
would've
a
been really
great
TV.
performance. But yeah, let's get into the headlines.
Yeah.
All right. Hello and welcome. I'm in hell. It's week 13 in the NFL. Week 12 went extraordinarily poorly for me. Maybe about as poorly as it could have possibly gone.
I mean, hey, you guys didn't lose by much. It could have gone worse.
Right, but we lost to an in-conference opponent, and the Bucks got blown out and lost Baker Mayfield. Panthers have a shot at the NFC South now, especially if Baker Mayfield is going to miss extended time. Man, it's the first headline we have here. I'm still processing it. It's a Monday morning. We are recording this so much earlier in the week than we ever do. Monday Night Football has not been played yet.
No, so any information that we share for VOD watchers or on the main podcast this week, keep in mind that the information is without the insight of Monday Night Football because we are currently recording on Monday at 11:55 a.m.
It's without the insight of Monday Night Football. It's without the injury insight of the rest of the week. We benefited greatly. Obviously, the timing of everything wasn't great, but we benefited greatly from filming during Thursday Night Football because most of the injury information was already set. And certainly by the time we were done editing, all of the injury information was set. But our first headline, I don't want to talk about it. It's been a little more than 12 hours since the game ended. The Eagles, oh boy, they lost in such a fashion that I didn't even watch Sunday Night Football. I just score checked it this morning and watched a review of it so that I knew generally what happened. But, fuck, man, that one hurt.
Yeah. Eagles lost yesterday in what I would consider a pretty embarrassing fashion. Went up big early game, put up 21-0 to start the game, and then went scoreless for second, third, and fourth quarter. Ended up losing the game. Not in overtime. There were a couple other games that went to overtime, but this one almost did, but didn't. Cowboys ended up kicking the game-winning field goal to win the game 24-21. In Dallas is still a big loss. Eagles lose the 1 seed.
For now, at least.
For now.
If they manage to pull even with the Rams before the end of the season, they will have the 1 seed.
Which is very much so, very possible. But when you see that kind of performance after a not-so-convincing win against Detroit and a not-so-convincing win against the Packers, it feels like the Eagles are kind of sputtering a little bit.
Well, is it fair to say that they've been sputtering for the whole season? Because our offensive coordinator, I mean, look, I thought for the most part Kevin Patullo did an okay job yesterday. Our offensive line's run blocking was atrocious. Barkley ran the ball 10 times for 22 yards. Tank Bigsby, in his only carry, went for 8. Jalen Hurts was the team's leading rusher. And we talked about it early in the season with the Chiefs. Having your quarterback be the leading passer and rusher is not a sustainable formula to win football games. It cost the Chiefs early in the season. It cost the Eagles last night. I don't know what the right solution is for this Eagles team because the defense is so good. It sputtered against Dallas yesterday, but when the offense is gaining less than 20 yards on every drive after their third touchdown drive, which came not far into the second quarter, it's really, really tough as a defense to hang out there every play. And they did an admirable job for the most part. This is going to come off as bitter, but we have talked at times this season about how rough the officiating has been in the NFL. It reared its head against both teams yesterday in Dallas. The Eagles got some calls early. Dallas got a lot of calls late. There was a stretch of time during which the Eagles were called for 7 penalties since the Cowboys had last been called for 1.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a coaching issue and a what's the word I'm looking for?
Disciplinary.
That's it. It's a discipline issue. The offense has to be better. There's really no way around it because this Eagles team cannot win a Super Bowl. It is worth mentioning. The Eagles have not lost at home. They have lost to only division opponents and an out-of-conference opponent. It's not the worst thing in the world to go 13-4 and split with your division opponents and have an out-of-conference loss. But in a year where the rest of the NFC, particularly LA, Seattle, and Chicago, are so strong, this is one Philly really needed to win. It's their first loss in the Kelly Greens.
Yeah.
But hey, A.J. Brown got his yards, so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that the Eagles can't win a Super Bowl because, I mean, anything can happen any given week. Any team can get hot at any point in the season. And we have seen evidence of this Philadelphia offense be successful, but something we haven't talked a lot about on this show is the idea of complementary football, which is exactly why the Eagles lost in my eyes last night. the offense was doing absolutely nothing to help the defense get rest and stay off the field for longer than what felt like a 3-minute span, especially in the second half. It just felt like every time you looked at the television, the Cowboys' offense was on the screen. And when you leave your defense out there so much, it makes it so much more difficult for them to restrain an offense. The Eagles have a home game against another one of the NFC top dogs. They've got the Chicago Bears coming to town on Black Friday. And to me, it's kind of it's another prove it game. Like, I mean, because I feel like all season the Eagles have been winning, but similarly to the Broncos in what's been talked about in a lot of context, it hasn't really been like convincing.
And for what it's worth, even the Broncos managed a convincing win over the Cowboys. Pre-trade deadline, they didn't have Quinnen Williams yet. They didn't have Logan Wilson. But even the Broncos managed a convincing win against the Cowboys.
And when you don't have convincing, like, you're winning football games as the Eagles, but it's not very convincing, and the offense has been highly inconsistent. But we'll see what happens on Black Friday this week with the Bears. On to our next headline. I'm much happier on this Monday morning. I was able to watch my Rams dominate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football last night in a huge way. I mean, dominated in every facet of the game, won 34-7, and was what felt like 6 straight weeks of dominant defense.
Oh yeah,
from the Rams. They forced 2 interceptions. Granted, one was a garbage time heave at the end of the first half. But last night, I believe they had 5 team sacks. They were getting after both Baker Mayfield in the first half and Teddy Bridgewater in the second half. They were really great in coverage, and this just feels like a really dominant stretch for this defense. And when your defense is playing like that and your offense is also putting up 4 touchdowns a week, it's pretty hard to lose football games.
Yeah.
The Rams right now are playing excellent complementary football, and are now holders of the 1 seed. They're getting hot at what feels like the perfect time. This week, for the next couple of weeks, they've got some much easier matchups. They've got the Carolina Panthers, which could be a trap game, but should be one that they get. And then the following week, they go into Arizona for the first time this season. But the Rams right now, they're hot. They're looking really, really good. And I think right now they've absolutely got to be the Super Bowl favorites.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the Rams are everything the Eagles have been pretending to be this season. And the only knock on L.A. is a loss to San Francisco and a loss to Philadelphia. Those are their only 2 losses of the season. One of them came at home, a home loss to the 49ers. They ended up beating them at Levi Stadium. They lost to Philadelphia in Philadelphia. And the only concern that I have with the Rams on what should be their path to the Super Bowl is come NFC Championship time, who will have more fans in the stands. And I think it depends on who their opposing team is. If the Niners manage to make it to the conference championship, it will be a de facto Niner home game. If the Eagles figure their shit out, it'll be a neutral site game. If Seattle makes it to the NFC Championship game, it'll again be a neutral site game, in my opinion, because Seattle is close enough to LA that people will make that trip for that game. Which really only leaves the Bears, the Lions, the Packers, and the winner of the NFC South as the teams that may not take over those stadiums. And if we're being honest, how many of those teams have a chance at the NFC Championship game? Maybe Green Bay, maybe Detroit, maybe Chicago. But how many of those teams even are realistically going to be there come conference championship weekend compared to the likelihood of San Francisco, Seattle, Philadelphia?
I mean, the thing with the thing with San Francisco is that I think out of the teams in the NFC, I think the team they have the best chance of beating probably is the Rams, and that's just due to familiarity and division dynamics. Outside of that, which is why I'm only worried about the Niners if the Niners make it past the first round, which they probably won't.
That's true. That could be a divisional round match. If they're the 7
Um,
seed, that could be a divisional round matchup at SoFi. That could be the first playoff game the Rams have to play.
But like I said, they're probably not making it out of the first round, no matter who else that they play, especially if it's Philly or Detroit or any of the NFC North winners. And I think we all know that the NFC South is most definitely not going to be the second or the third seed. But, yeah, right now, I mean, even with the fan disadvantage that the Rams may have, the Rams are very, very close to being 11-0.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. If they just make one of those kicks against Philly, they win in Philly. If Kyron Williams doesn't fumble the ball on the 1 yard line against San Fran, or if Matthew Stafford doesn't miss Devontae Adams on an open slant in the end zone, they don't lose to San Fran. So it's even if the Rams have a de facto away game because of the lack of support at SoFi, does it really matter? And frankly, right now, I don't think it does. Because I mean, the NFC right now is filled with a bunch of maybes. Maybe the Lions, maybe the Packers, maybe the Bears, maybe the Panthers, maybe the Bucks. And at this point, I think we have to start saying maybe the Eagles.
Yeah.
And it's a whole bunch of maybes, but the Rams have been the one constant in the NFC so far this season that they have really been dominant at both sides of the ball.
And speaking of teams that have been dominant on both sides of the ball, our final headline is that the Broncos come out of this week as the second biggest winner in the AFC. Biggest winner, Patriots. Locked themselves into the 1 seed for now. We'll see how the rest of their season goes. But Denver, they lost a little bit of ground in the AFC West. I don't think they're as concerned about that as they are a trip to the 1 seed. And with Indianapolis's loss in Kansas City's first 1-score win of the year, oh boy, does that help Denver. Denver, one of their only head-to-head losses is against their only 2 head-to-head losses are against Indianapolis and the Rams at SoFi. They lost to Indy in Indy. They lost to the Rams at SoFi. And now the Colts lost to someone the Broncos beat, which means they don't have head-to-head, which is the first tiebreaker, but they do have common opponent, at least for now. We'll see how the second matchup between the Broncos and the Chiefs goes. But, oh boy, did the Broncos enjoy their bye week. Hats off to Denver. This is really more of a shout-out than anything. Hats off to Denver. You are the 2 seed currently in the AFC. And Kansas City, despite the win, still currently out of the playoff picture.
I mean, yeah, the AFC playoff picture right now, I mean, it is an absolute dogfight for wild card spots. I mean, these are all of the 500 or above teams who are in the wild card race in the AFC. You've got the Bills at 7-4. You've got the Jaguars at 7-4. You've got the Chargers at 7-4. And then at 6-5, you've got the Steelers. You've got the Texans,
who beat the Chiefs head-to-head, I
who
believe.
have the head-to-head over the Chiefs, and you've got the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, there are 6 teams that are fighting for a wild card spot right now. And honestly, I think the AFC wild card race is going to be really entertaining down the stretch.
I absolutely agree. It's going to be a wild finish. I think that obviously one of the Ravens or the Steelers are going to make the playoffs. I don't think the other team there is terribly likely to.
No.
But it's worth mentioning that the Steelers and the Texans have the same record as the Chiefs because based on the way different tiebreakers might shake out, that's potentially two teams that might have tiebreaker over Kansas City, which means Kansas City doesn't just need to be 10-7 or 9-8. They need to be better than those two teams.
Frankly, to me right now, like they can probably afford one more loss.
I agree.
If they get two more losses, I don't think they're in.
Well, and it bears mentioning for both Dallas and Kansas City, this week's matchup on Thanksgiving is a must-win. We'll talk about this more on the main pod. But the loser of that game is not officially eliminated from the playoffs, but their road gets a lot harder from there. I don't think that segues nicely into any of our Player of the Week awards. But we did manage to fill out the full slate this week. We disagreed on... Shut up. Sorry about that.
VOD watchers. That is Siri making her every once in a while interjection when you want absolutely nothing to do with her.
Yeah. All right. We did manage to fill out a full slate for the weekly awards this week, starting with Unk Still Got It. Tyler Lockett, 33 years old. Every time the Raiders were on screen, it seemed like number 17, which is a weird number for him to be wearing, was involved in the play somehow. Either he was being targeted or he'd caught the ball. 4 catches, 62 yards, no touchdowns. His best performance of the season. He and Geno have a really nice connection.
I mean, it feels like yesterday, hearing about Tyler Lockett breaking out, going from punt returner to a genuinely quality receiver in Seattle. I mean, his to make such an impact at receiver at such a size, is very impressive. To do so at 33 years old, on a team like the Raiders continues to be impressive. So Tyler Lockett, congratulations.
And that is despite the Raider loss. In fact, quite a few of these awards are despite the loss. Including our big man of the week, Walter Nolan. Every time the Cardinals were on screen, big number 97 was somewhere to be found. His most impactful play of the game came early. 1 fumble recovery, returned it for 7 yards, plucked it right out of the air, scored a touchdown. You disagree with the big man of the week on this one.
I do, and this was a pure just a film watch. Steve Avila, the Rams left guard, had an absolutely phenomenal game against the Buccaneers while blocking Vita Vea about half the time. And Vita Vea is a very, very, very good defensive tackle. On pretty much every single run play, he was pushing the line, getting a couple yards of ground, not letting his man go anywhere. And on pass block, he kept the pocket clean. Just did a really great job, whether it was he was on an island or a double team or moving up to the second level. I mean, he just played absolutely great football. And to shout out, because he has not been mentioned yet this season, but he is breaking out and is currently PFF's second graded left guard. Steve Avila is having a great year and had a really great game last night.
So I do have to ask, how many times a week do you think about how different the Week 3 Philly-LA game would have been if Steve Avila were in instead of Bo Limmer?
Never, because I have confidence the Rams are going to win in January.
Fair enough. Speaking of the Rams, my NFC Player of the Week, and I need to make clear that this is my pick because you have someone else. I picked Matt Stafford, 25 of 35, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Kind of a pedestrian game for him, but if a pedestrian game involves over 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, you may as well just take the MVP award. Now, Stafford had another great game in a week where Jonathan Taylor really didn't do much to aid his stock.
And also part of that 3-touchdown game was Matthew Stafford tied the record for most consecutive touchdown passes without an interception.
Yes.
He hasn't thrown an interception since the game against Philadelphia. And since then, he has thrown 27 touchdown passes. And I hope to see him break that record next week.
It would be a little bit funny if the very first pass of the game was intercepted by J.C. Horn, who returned it for a touchdown. So technically it is a 28th touchdown pass. It just went to the wrong team. And now, please inform the people of your NFC player.
So my NFC player of the week pick was Jahmyr Gibbs. He had 24 touches, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns. If you saw the stat line and you asked who, probably would have said Jonathan Taylor. This one was Jahmyr Gibbs. He had an absolutely insane game. And frankly, the Lions would have been upset by the Giants without Jahmyr Gibbs' performance.
Pretty comfortably, yeah. I mean, even ignoring the long touchdown run in overtime, Gibbs was the only guy who showed any life on that offense. Hell, he got Shane Bowen fired, finally. Now, I'm going to pivot to Coach of the Week just because it is related to the Giants. Mike Kafka coached his ass off. Had Detroit on the ropes for 3.5 quarters. And then Jahmyr Gibbs said, fuck this. We're not losing 2 in a row at home. Mike Kafka, though, did an excellent job against Green Bay last week. Did a great job against the Lions this week. I'm excited to see what he has in store. I fired off a tweet during that game. Shut the fuck up. My Siri just won't stop going off. I fired off a tweet during the Giants game that said Mike Kafka might be trying to coach his way into being the full-time head coach for the Giants. It would be very interesting to see the offensive coordinator from Brian Daboll's regime take over and have potentially more success. But there are some advantages to that. He's familiar with Jackson Dart and all of the offensive players already. It's a new scheme, but not so new that they won't be able to learn it in the offseason. And obviously now he'd get to build his staff. He'd get to bring in an offensive coordinator. He'd get to bring in a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I believe he promoted because Kafka was the one to fire Shane Bowen.
Yes.
And he promoted, I believe, the outside linebackers coach to be the current defensive coordinator for the Giants. But Mike Kafka is absolutely deserving this Coach of the Week award. I mean, he is making moves. We both think that he's coaching his way into being the Giants' potentially, not long-term, but definitely probably who they want in the short term at head coach. And I'm really curious to see what he's going to be able to do next for the remainder of this year, as well as next year with a full off-season under his belt.
Our AFC Player of the Week. Stop me if you've heard this one before. It's Myles Garrett. 5 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. We talked about Browns-Raiders last week, and the first thing I said was I want you to remember that Myles Garrett is very good. He had an excellent game. He's making it really hard to not pick him for Defensive Player of the Year. I think he is not the only defensive player to win Player of the Week. Jaquan McMillian won it last week over another outstanding Myles Garrett performance, by the way. But he is certainly the most consistent defensive name. Easily could have been, I think, a 3-time reigning AFC Player of the Week at this point. In a row, dating back to Week 11, has been on an outstanding stretch. He is the only reason that Cleveland has any life whatsoever.
I mean, and I think I've talked about it on this show. I've definitely talked about it with you. Is that I think the edge position may be becoming overpaid. In Myles Garrett's telling me to shut the fuck up the last few weeks. I mean, the impact that he's been making is absolutely absurd. And he is currently on pace for 25 and a half.
I was just about to look at how many sacks he currently has and how many he was on pace
I believe
for.
it's like 15 right now.
He has 18 after yesterday. He has 18 sacks in, I think, 12 weeks. I think the Browns are maybe 11. Hang on. Let's see. Yeah, 18 sacks in 11 weeks. The Browns are 3-8. He has 18 sacks in 11 weeks. Over the last 3 weeks, over the last 4 weeks, he has 13. 13 sacks over the last 4 weeks. He had 5 through the first 7 games of the season, which, by the way, is still good pace. 13-4 is absurd. It's outstanding. Myles Garrett.
I'm sorry.
He is just that kind of player.
Myles Garrett, I'm sorry. I did not mean to disrespect you or your game. I did not know that I was not familiar with your game. Did not know you were like that.
Do you want to hear something really, really funny?
Sure.
You know who the only team in the last 4 weeks to hold Myles Garrett to fewer than 3 sacks was?
Oh. Tell me.
The New York Jets. Jets have a quietly outstanding tackle duo.
I know they've got is it Membo or Membao?
I believe it. I've been calling him Membu, so
Big Memb.
Yeah, the rookie.
I know
out
he's
of
been playing really,
Missouri.
really great. But holy shit, Myles Garrett. I was not familiar with your game. Probably going to shatter that record currently held by T.J. Watt and Michael Strahan. Most likely going to claim his second Defensive Player of the Year trophy.
I would just be happy if Myles Garrett broke it, because it's a tie right now between two players.
Right
I'd just be happy. We only need 5 more sacks in the back 6 games for Myles Garrett. I think he can do it. It's a tall task, but based on the way he's been playing over the last 4 weeks, who else would do it?
If he has another 3+, it's over. But anyway,
I just got a notification that Justin Tucker has a tryout this week. So on the off chance that you ever see this, hey, Justin. All right.
That does it for our
chart of the week. We started chart of the week.
That does not do it. Yeah, we've got chart of the week left. Our winner this week,
Caleb Williams, has been having a quietly outstanding season. His
first
numbers,
Bears quarterback ever, 4,000 yards.
I don't think he's currently on pace. He might have changed that yesterday, but I know coming into this week he was off pace for 1,000 yards.
Short by like 50,
or 4,000. The numbers have not been eye-popping for a lot of this year. Even his completion percentage this week, 19-35. That's not great. 239 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. That is really good. And Caleb Williams, just watch him play.
Yeah.
He has taken, I believe, the 3rd or 4th most sacks in the league, but he has far and away the most missed sacks force.
Yeah.
And that's the player that I saw coming out of USC and said, "Oh fuck, this guy could put the league in trouble." He's not quite there yet. I'd like to see him improve on his accuracy. I'd like to see him get more consistent with the short and intermediate passes. But oh boy, Caleb Williams, he's got it.
I mean, yeah, Caleb Williams, he's not a player. I think that he's not defined by his stat sheet by any means. You've got to watch it, and when you watch it, it looks to me like a young Russell Wilson. And the way he navigates the pocket, the way he gets out of trouble, the way he extends plays. And that's scary because young Russell Wilson is, in my eyes, a criminally underrated quarterback in the 2010s. I mean, Russell Wilson was for me really the blueprint for the mobile passer.
Yeah.
But Caleb Williams, absolutely pretty chart, good distribution, that touchdown pass, all of his touchdown passes. I mean, just a great chart, great game, and congratulations to Caleb Williams. Now, that will do it for our weekly awards this week. And we're trying out a new format for any of you guys have been following. We're trying a new format for the weekly records. We are now going to have our games that we agree on as one record, and then we're going to have the games that we disagree on as our individual records. And I believe our record, pending the Monday night game, I believe our record last weekend was, I want to say 8-2.
We were 8-3 between the two of us. We disagreed on 2 games. I got both of them right. I picked the Browns over the Raiders and the Packers over the Vikings. The Packers-Vikings ended up... Actually, neither of those games were ever particularly close. I got really close to correctly predicting the final score of Browns-Raiders. I had 24-17. I had 21-17. Final score was 24-10. I am trying to put together our yearly record right this second. So give me one moment. That is 78 and 49. Okay, so our yearly records. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go back and retro date this to include our combined records. But our yearly records, I am 78-49. You are 74-53. You have joined me in being 20-plus games above 500, right as I am on the verge of cracking 30. Hell of a week for both of us. 10-3 for me is my best week of the season, pending Monday Night Football. We both had the same result for Monday Night Football, so the distance between us will not change. But that will do it for the Headlines edition of Any Given Sunday. Thank you all so much for watching. It means the world to both of us that you would stick it through. Our Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all linked down in the description below, as well as our wonderful executive producer, Holt Hendershot's YouTube channel. I think that's about it for this week, and we will see you hopefully in the main podcast. But if we don't see you there, we will see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Baller. All right.
I'm going to go refill my water bottle real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and let's get rolling on the main pod. Yeah, because we got 30 minutes.
Jeez. Hopefully they're not here right at 1.
Yeah, hopefully not. So
Currently in the cage, I have him trying to stall the people who are coming in at 1 if they get here on time.
that's crazy.
Based on the way that these have been going, we should be done by around 1:30. But then obviously we still have to break down.
I know it's what I'm thinking about is that like this for this we really, really need to try like 2 sentences
Yeah.
about each game. Just to try to wrap up as close to 1 as we can.
Yeah.
I can run the intro.
Yep. I am ready when you are.
All right, good.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry.
Welcome to Any Given Sunday, Week 13 in this NFL season. My name is Tyler. This is my good friend Coop. And this week, happy holidays. We've got Thanksgiving and Black Friday games. So we've got football this week on Thursday, Friday. We've got college football on Saturday, and we've got NFL football on Sunday.
And I believe Monday
and
as well.
Monday.
So
we've
full
got
weekend.
We've got a really full weekend of football. NFL fans, tell your partners, your spouses to leave you alone this weekend. All right, so just preface, we are on a little bit of a time crunch this week, so we are going to try to fire these games off faster than usual. But we're still going to go through our circled games as we usually do, and our first circled games are going to be our first holiday game at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thanksgiving. We've got the
It's
Packers.
actually noon.
It's at noon?
It's at noon.
Starting at 12?
It always
My
kicks off at
apologies.
noon.
My apologies. At 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we've got the Packers going into the Thanksgiving regulars, the Detroit Lions. And we picked this game differently, so I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so I wonder what our other 3 circled games for this week are if we're starting with the first one from Thanksgiving. But it's Packers at Lions. The Packers dominated the Lions in week 1. And I've noticed something over the last 2 weeks. The Eagles' defensive line and the Giants' defensive line are really, really, really strong. Jared Goff is not good under pressure, and once you've pressured or sacked him a couple of times, he starts to become an errant passer. And the Packers' run defense is still really good. It's hard for me to see. Detroit broke a yearly tradition of losing Thanksgiving games thanks to a decision that made Matt Eberflus the first ever mid-season fired coach in Chicago Bears history. I think they get back to their losing ways on Thanksgiving this year. I've got Packers 28-14. I think their defensive line is just going to mow through. I think their defense in general is going to mow through this Lions offense. As good as they are, I don't see it being particularly close.
Yeah, the Packers' rush defense is obviously phenomenal. The only concern that I have is that when their pass rush is good, it's mostly when Micah Parsons shows up. And this offensive tackle duo, especially if Micah Parsons is getting blocked by Penei Sewell for most of the game, I don't think Micah Parsons is going to be nearly as much of a threat as he is while playing weaker tackles.
Yeah.
And I think Penei Sewell is going to be absolutely huge for the Lions in this game. He is what a lot of people consider one of the best, if not the best, offensive tackle in the NFL. And I've got the Lions winning it in a really close game. I've got them winning it at home, 28-27, and continuing their streak of winning.
Making
a streak, not even continuing a streak, making the streak of winning on Thanksgiving.
Speaking of winning on Thanksgiving, Chiefs-Cowboys. I actually have no idea if the Cowboys won on Thanksgiving last year. I think they did. But I have no way to substantiate that belief, and I'm not going to look. I'm just going to let the pop-up that should be right here let you know. This is a must-win game for both of these teams. Both of them won this week against, I'll say it, superior opponents. It's a Cowboy home game. It's a short week for both teams. Kansas City will get one step closer to being eliminated from the playoffs. I've got Dallas 35-28 at home. I don't think the Chiefs have been very good this year. I think that their run game especially has been atrocious, and if Dallas has shown anything since acquiring Quinnen Williams, they can sure as shit stop the run, and it's going to make it a lot easier to defend the pass. I'm not scared of any Kansas City pass catcher other than Rashee Rice. and maybe Xavier Worthy's speed scares me.
Yeah, and Rashee Rice showed up huge for Kansas City this weekend, especially in crunch time, trying to get yards late in the game for the game tying and what would end up be the game winning field goal for Kansas City. Rashee Rice absolutely showed up huge. Having him back is really beneficial for Kansas City. But even with Rashee Rice being back, I don't think the Chiefs defense is going to be able to contain this explosive Cowboys offense and this explosive Cowboys passing attack. I've got them winning at 32-24, and that's as great as the Chiefs did against the Indianapolis Colts. I think at this point in the season we've learned that what runs the Colts offense is not their passing game. It is Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And if you can shut down Jonathan Taylor, it makes it a lot easier to stop the Colts from scoring points, and that's what the Kansas City Chiefs did. They were able to restrain Jonathan Taylor, keep him under wraps for a majority of the game, and that eventually is what led to their defensive success.
Well, and the Cowboys are much more passing offense. They are not bad at rushing the ball by any means. Javonte Williams has had a very good season. I don't think it's going to matter that they contain Javonte Williams because CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens have both been so good. And then you also have to worry about Jake Ferguson. It's just going to be a rough go at it for the Chiefs, and they are going to get one step closer to – they're going to get one step closer to not being in the playoffs. Yeah. And teams that – speaking of teams that may or may not make the playoffs – our final Thanksgiving game, not our final circle game, we have 4 of them this week, but our final Thanksgiving game is Bengals at Ravens, a game which our wonderful executive producer will actually be at. This is it. We thought it might happen last week. The Bengals held them out. This is it. This is the return of Joe Burrow. We have this game marked differently.
We do.
Why do you think the return of Joe Burrow matters so much for Cincinnati?
Well, I mean, for me, it's less of the return of Joe Burrow, and for me, it's that the Ravens started the season 1-5. They currently sit atop the AFC North because of a tiebreaker with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Although with that, the last few wins have not been convincing to me, despite them being against very not good teams. And to me, the Bengals, with Joe Burrow, I think are good enough to get the best of the Ravens this time. And I'm going to be with my family watching this game. All of my family are Ravens fans. They are going to be upset when Joe Burrow and the Bengals beat them 28-24 on Thanksgiving because the Ravens just haven't looked like themselves.
Maybe not, and they did struggle this past week against the Jets. They ended up pulling out the win, but they struggled in the first half. They were trailing at the half. The Bengals defense is so much worse than the Jets defense. I don't think either of us thought we'd be saying that, especially after the Jets traded Sauce Gardner and Quinn Williams away. But the Jets defense since the trade deadline has been much improved. They've played much tougher, and the Bengals just haven't. The Bengals just aren't a good defense, and it's going to be a high-scoring game. I have it as 27-24. I wouldn't be surprised if one or both of these teams scored 40-plus.
Yeah.
It's been that kind of season for both clubs. I think that the thing that gives it to the Ravens is probably just that Joe Burrow, he might be willing and able to play, but he's definitely still hurt.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to hamper him. And a shorter week of practice than usual. He's not going to miss any time with Jamar Chase. He might struggle to get his connection back with T. Higgins a little bit. I think that 27-24 in Baltimore is a very reasonable score for both of these teams. And now on to our final circle game. Early in the year, around week 3 or 4, it looked like the Thanksgiving and the pre-Sunday slate of Thanksgiving week was going to be awful. All 4 of the pre-Sunday games ended up in our circled games. Bears at Eagles. I got to be honest, it's hard for me to pick the Eagles in this one. As much as a homer as I've been for them, I think I only picked against them once, and that was when they went to Tampa Bay. They ended up winning that game. I'm not picking against them here. It's a home game. I'm sticking by it. Nobody is going to beat us at home. Chicago has played very well. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But if the Eagles lose this game, someone needs to be fired. Someone should already be fired. Kevin Patullo, count your fucking... I'm just kidding. Someone hire him as a head coach. He's a great coordinator. I have no problems with him whatsoever. Hire him as a head coach. Please. Please. I want him gone. I have the Eagles winning 28-25 at home. I don't think anyone is going to beat the Eagles in Philadelphia. Regular season playoffs, whatever it is, I just don't think it's happening.
Yeah, I've also got the Eagles winning this game 24-20, but my opinion on the Bears on this show that I've shown on this show has been that I don't have a lot of confidence in the Bears, that they haven't shown me consistency. But I feel like they've won 8 of their last 9, and they are looking like a team that is very much so beginning to earn my respect. And they have shown consistency in the ability to win and the ability to succeed offensively, and that scares me a little bit. Now,
Yeah.
I am still picking the Eagles, but it is because it is an Eagles home game, and I think that the Eagles are a better team right now. Now, if the Bears win it, I think it changes the power structure of the NFC. If the Bears win, we've got to start talking about the Bears as the second best team in the NFC.
I think third. I think that
second or third. They've got to be in that top 3.
100% they have to be in the top 3. I think if Chicago wins this game, it slots them firmly in at 3, ahead of their division rivals in the Packers and the Lions. They've had an easier schedule. They played a 4th place schedule this year. They are playing a 4th place schedule this year. But they still took care. If they would have won this game, they will have taken care of the entire NFC East. Less impressive this year maybe than in past years, but still hard to beat an entire division. And the only 2 teams that will have been bona fide 100% better than them throughout the course of the entire season will be LA and Seattle.
Yeah. And that is exciting to me. That's exciting for Chicago. The Bears have been struggling for decades, and the Caleb Williams could be the first 4,000-yard passer they have ever had in their history. And it's exciting. With that, still, we've both got the Eagles. I've got them 24-20. You've got them 20-25 on Black Friday. And on to the rest. And again, because of time constraint, we are going to try to fire these off really, really fast, just because of limited time. And the first one, we've got the Bills coming off of a mini bye.
And an embarrassing loss.
And a very embarrassing loss that we were able to react live to against the Houston Texans. And I've got this one pinned I've got the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to win it. It's in Pitt. I think they're only going to win it if Aaron Rodgers is healthy.
I agree.
And if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I've got the Steelers winning it 24-20. I think that the Bills right now are sliding. I think Josh Allen is on a really bad run. And when Josh Allen's on a bad run, the Bills are on a bad run. And I've got, if Aaron Rodgers plays, Steelers 24-20. If not, I think the Bills are going to win 20-17.
Yeah, I have the Bills winning 17-10. I really am only picking against Pittsburgh because it's hard for me to see them beating Buffalo. Josh Allen is having a rough stretch, but it's not as rough as it could be. And that's really all I have to say about that. On to Rams at Panthers, a 1 o'clock game. I'm going to reiterate this. Actually, I don't think I said it yet. We're filming on a Monday. We don't know how the Panthers will have played tonight by the time that we're recording this. That being said, over the last 2 years, they've been a very annoying team to the top teams in each conference. They beat Green Bay earlier this year. I have the Rams winning 35-29, but I think that it's a much, much sweatier game than it really deserves to be. The Rams are the class of the conference. The Panthers are trying to fight for a division title in the NFC South. The Rams are going to make that quest a little bit harder. I've got Rams 35-29.
Yeah, and I've got this one. I'm pretty sure this one is my biggest point differential of the week. I've got the Rams winning at 42-10. I mean, the defense has been on an absolute tear. limiting and shredding top offenses over the last couple of weeks, and the Panthers are not one of the top offenses in the NFL, and the Rams offense is also been elite this season. And I've got the Rams winning it dominantly 42-10, and I think it'll only stop at 42 because the starters will be out of the game in the fourth quarter. And onto our next, we've got a matchup of South teams, although different conferences. We've got the New Orleans Saints going into Miami. I've got the Saints on this one, and this is a rare Saints pick for me. I think this might be the first time this season I picked the Saints, and I've got the Saints this week, and it's a hunch.
Really?
It's a hunch.
In Miami. Okay.
Call it a lack of confidence in the Dolphins. Call it I think sometimes even the bad teams have to be good.
I think the Saints had their moment of bad teams have to be good when they beat the Panthers. I have the Dolphins winning this one 24-17. Did you say your score?
I did not. I've got the Saints winning at 27-21.
Yeah, I've got the Dolphins at home. This is a weird one. This is a weird one. The Saints are a well-coached team.
The Dolphins are a weird team, though.
Dolphins are a very weird team. Yeah, I don't see it. And speaking of games where I just don't see it for one of the teams, our other contestant coming off a mini bye, the Texans have had a run of incredible form the last 3 weeks. I believe they've won 3 in a row.
They have.
Including beating Buffalo at home. Unfortunately, they are on the road this week. Shut the fuck up, Siri. How many times am I going to do that? That's a VOD joke. I have the Colts winning this one at home 35-14. The Texans have shown a lot of heart. I think it could be closer than this. But the Colts are pissed that they lost to Kansas City in Kansas City. They're returning home. They're not going to lose there. They are going to try to stave off the Jaguars. And I think they're going to get a little bit of help from the Jaguars opponent this week. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to the Texans. They have been on an absolutely great run, pulling off the upset in Buffalo last week. But this week you got the divisional opponent. And this is me being bad at my job. I'm not familiar if they have matched up this so far this season, and if they have, I'm not familiar.
They have.
The
Colts
won. How it went.
The Colts won in Houston earlier in the year.
But I've got the Colts winning at 32-24. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than you do. I think that this probably looks like a Jonathan Taylor game-sealing touchdown late in the game, and we've both got the Colts winning it, putting up 30+, but we will see what happens on Sunday. I am curious to see how this one goes because of seeing if the Colts and Jonathan Taylor have started to get slowed down. But we will see when they play the Texans this Sunday.
I just did something that I've done a couple times this year. I just changed my opinion on the result for one of the games. Falcons at Jets in New Jersey. Falcons defense, very good. Excellent. One of the best in the league. Falcons offense. Jets defense.
Kirk threw 2 touchdowns last week.
Jets defense, much improved since trading away 2 of their best players. Don't ask me how that works. I don't know. Their offense looked much better under the tutelage of Tyrod Taylor. In New Jersey, I have the Jets winning this one 21-20. I think it will be a very close game. I think it probably comes down to a last-minute touchdown drive by the Jets to knock themselves further out of contention in the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about things that I just don't see happening. I just don't see the Jets winning. I picked the Falcons this year a lot of times, and so far it has proved me.
Holy shit, we disagree on a lot.
They've proved me, they've disappointed me so far a lot this season, but I do think that they're going to get the one against the Jets. Like Coop said, they both have really, really phenomenal defenses, although even under Kirk O'Chains, next week they should have Drake London back.
Yes.
Drake London, I swear he is a heart attack as a fantasy manager every single week. I have no idea if he's playing or not. But when he plays, this Falcons offense looks a lot better. And he's a great receiver, and that makes sense. But so I've got the Falcons winning this one in a close one, 22-20, in New Jersey at MetLife. Even if it's Kirko with Drake London, they're just a significantly better offense and a significantly better passing attack. But we'll see what happens on Sunday. Next up, we've got a team where my pick is completely off of prayer.
Sure.
Because I don't want to see the 49ers in the playoffs. The 49ers this week face the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. And I'm praying that Myles Garrett puts up 5 sacks on them and maybe like 4 forced fumbles. Really hoping that happens.
Right. So here's kind of the problem with that. I think Myles Garrett individually will have an outstanding game. Shador has to go up against a Robert Saleh defense this week. I have the 49ers winning this one 24-17 in Cleveland. It wouldn't stun me if the Browns won. That's a lie. It would stun me if the Browns won. I just don't see it.
That was a joke, by the way. Robert Saleh, you are a really, really good defensive coordinator. You are doing really well in San Francisco despite all the injuries. I just really hope that the Browns are going to win it. And I think that Shador Sanders, in his first start, granted against the Las Vegas Raiders, showed to be a slight upgrade than their quarterback play from the rest of the season. And I think the Browns are going to win this one in a combination of dominant defense and just being able to score enough. I've got the Browns winning it 27-17. You've got the 49ers winning it 24-17. We will see what happens in Cleveland on Sunday. And we've got another South matchup this time in the same division. We've got the Jags, who are really fighting for a wild card spot, trying to stay in contention for a potential division title, against the 1-10 Tennessee Titans.
And I foreshadowed this earlier. I have the Titans winning this one. Now, I said last week, before the Titans-Seahawks matchup, that the Seahawks were significantly better than the Titans in just about every way. And we both expected that to be the blowout of the week. And not only was it not a blowout, it was only a 3-point win. Call me crazy for saying that Jacksonville is not as good as Seattle. It's a Titans home game, which is where Seattle met them. They are coming off the momentum of playing really good against one of the NFL's top teams. I have the Titans 27-24 at home over Jacksonville, creating a little bit of space for the Colts at the top of the division.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about today. The theme has been things we just don't see happening, and I don't see the Titans winning this game. I mean, if the Jaguars, if you lose, I picked against you so many times this year, and every single time I picked against you, you decided to win a football game. I swear, if I pick you this week, I'm gonna start feeling like I control the fate of the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I've got the Jaguars winning it in Tennessee 24-21. You've got the Titans winning it 27-24. Either way, I think that this should be a decent game, despite one of the teams being the current holder of the first overall pick. But we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Speaking of games that should probably be decent, despite one of the teams being a lot worse than the other, Baker Mayfield, we don't know the nature of his injury. Any information we do have should be right here. Oh, boy. I have the Cardinals 28-25. Mayfield looked like he was in a lot of pain last night. And I think that the Buccaneers' outlook with Teddy Bridgewater is significantly worse than it is with Baker Mayfield.
I mean, yeah, that happens when you lose your quarterback at that being probably one of the best in the league. My score prediction is I do have the Buccaneers 31-20, although just like the Steelers, I think that is only going to happen if Baker Mayfield plays. If Baker Mayfield does not play, I think the Cardinals probably take it somewhere around a 27-20 win. It's in Tampa, which does give the Bucs a little bit of an edge.
Sure.
I am curious to see how Baker Mayfield's injury progresses through this week. Like we've mentioned so far, we are currently recording on Monday before the Monday night game of the 49ers versus the Panthers. But so we don't have a lot of insight. We don't really know how Baker's feeling. He did look like he was in a lot of pain, but even when it happened, I was like, oh, if he's feeling any kind of discomfort, just take him out, because at that point they were already down by 3 scores.
Yeah.
And just let him fight for next week, because that game was pretty much already lost. But you've got the Cardinals 28-25. I got the Bucks 31-20 if Baker Mayfield plays. And then we've got the Vikings going into Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's probably not thrilled that they played down to their competition in Tennessee. The Vikings are not anywhere near as bad as the Titans, and I have a similar result as what happened in Tennessee. I have Seattle winning 28-24. It is a Seattle home game. I could see the margin on this one being much wider. The Vikings just don't have it this year. They had it last year, and unfortunately they ran into a buzzsaw of a Rams team, and that's that for Seattle.
Yeah, keep this one short. J.J. McCarthy may be the key for the future, but right now it just looks like he doesn't have it. And not to say that that is a knock. That's not to say that he is a bust. That's not to say that he's going to be unsuccessful in his career. That is just saying right now he does not have it, and right now the Seahawks do. I've got the Seahawks winning it 30-14 in a dominant showing at home. I mean, JSN is playing out of his mind, and the defense is still good. And onto our next game, we've got a AFC West matchup. We've got the Raiders going into the Los Angeles Chargers while the Chargers are coming off of a bye, and we've both got the Chargers in this one.
Can somebody say massacre? I have the Chargers winning 28-10. I think that's probably generous to the Raiders. The only thing that gives me pause is I don't know the nature of Max Crosby's injury because I'm bad at my job. And if he comes back, this game is going to be a lot closer than it really has any right to be. LA should get the win off the bye week. Everybody should be a little bit healthier. They've had 2 weeks to game plan for this. If they lose, it reflects really poorly on them and gives the Chiefs a hell of a better chance to get into the playoffs. LA doesn't want that to happen. Nobody wants that to happen. I've got 28-10 in favor of the Chargers.
Yeah, I've got the Chargers winning at 23-18, and that closeness is really just because of the Chargers at times can look like a really bad team. But with that, I think that they're going to get the win over a team that is no doubtedly worse. And then on to a game that I think I have pinned a lot closer just out of superstition. But we've got the Broncos going into the Commanders, both teams coming off of a bye. And what do you see for this one?
I see a Broncos team that's had 2 weeks to game plan for a flailing Commanders team. The Commanders might have gotten healthy. Jaden Daniels might be healthier than he was going into the bye. I don't think it matters. I've got the Broncos 35-24. Denver, good team at minimum. Maybe not great, maybe not dominant, but good team at minimum. And Washington is not.
Yeah, I mean, that really is the kind of dynamic of this one. Even though it's in Washington, the Broncos may not be a dominant team, but they win football games. And that's why I've got this one pinned as a 23-20 win for the Broncos. I don't think they're going to win flashily. I don't think it's going to be a huge win, but they're going to find a way to win the game. And that's just I feel like has been the reality of this Broncos team this season. And I think that trend is going to continue here. On to a battle in New England. We've got the New York Giants going into the Patriots. This is our Monday night game next week.
And our record 9th disagreement in a week we have 17 games. We disagree.
Wait.
because there are 16 games for Thanksgiving, and then we also are covering next Thursday's game.
You think the Patriots are going to lose?
I think Mike Kafka is a hell of a coach. And I think if Jackson Dart comes back, they could be really dangerous. It's only a 1-point win. I have the Giants winning 25-24 in New England. It's a tough shake for the Giants, but Wan'Dale Robinson played great. They have the Lions on the ropes. I think we can agree, despite the records, the Lions are a better team than the Patriots. New England is due. They've won eight or 9 in a row. They are due to feel a little bit of pain. And there's nothing quite like losing to the Giants in a week that the Jets could feasibly win.
You know, when you first said that we disagreed on this one because you think the Giants are going to win, my first thought was, how could you possibly think that? But you may have just convinced me to switch my prediction for this game because, other than it feels like they're due, the Giants did just take the Lions to the brink with none other than famous Jameis at the helm. And this week we should be seeing Jackson Dart again. And I talked about it last week. Jackson Dart, I think, has been a really impactful player for the Giants. And I'm curious to see what this Kafka team looks like with Dart. And I am going to switch my prediction. I am going to say that the Giants will upset the Patriots in Foxborough in a close one. I'm going to say it'll go 27-24 in favor of the Giants.
Damn. I was really hoping to have 9 disagreements in a week where we have 17 predictions.
To break it.
That wraps up this week's games. There are 16 games this week for the first time since week 4. The final bye weeks will play out next week, but because there are so many games pre-Sunday, the NFL wanted to make sure that we had a full Sunday slate anyway. And now, next Thursday's game. Very interesting. It'll be the first Thursday night game, maybe ever, where both teams are going into it. Certainly the first Thursday night game this year, where both teams are going into it on a full week of rest. It's Thanksgiving team against Thanksgiving team. Cowboys at Lions next Thursday. Full week of rest for both teams. What do you think is going to happen in Detroit?
We've talked about the Lions today. And we've talked about the Cowboys in the way that their offense is dominant and at times their defense has looked shaky. They have looked improved since acquiring Quinnen Williams onto the defensive line, but still the Lions team is lethal if you cannot rush the quarterback. And to me, the Cowboys team at times this season really, really struggle to rush the quarterback. And that's why I've got the Lions winning it at home 30-28.
I just switched my prediction on this one, in part so we could keep the 9 disagreements, but also because the thing that you mentioned, the pass rush, I actually think that the Cowboys' pass rush is much improved, especially on the interior. Quinnen Williams, Osa Odigizua, both shit wreckers on the inside. You line them up next to each other. You let Donovan Ezaraku come in off the edge. You have a real chance to knock Jared Goff down and keep him down. And when you combine that with, again, an interior and a linebacking core that can contain Jahmyr Gibbs, that won't let him average more than 10 yards per touch. I've got Dallas winning in Detroit 35-31, which would make 3 in a row for the Cowboys and would put them at 7 wins on the season. We can briefly touch on our weekly records here as well. We did talk about them in the headlines. We will be talking about them there going forward, but just on the off chance that anybody is used to seeing them here and doesn't know where to look going forward, they will be in the headlines going forward. We added a third category. Both of us together were 8-3 on the games that we agreed on. We disagreed on 2 games last week. Much fewer than the amount of games we disagree on this week. I went 2-0 in the games we disagreed on. being Packers over Vikings and Browns over Raiders, which put me at 10-3 on the week and you at 8-5 on the week. The yearly records shape up to be 78-49 for me, and you are 74-53. Obviously, there's a good amount of agreement in there. I am 29 games above 500. You are 21.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a huge week for our records because, like I said, we disagree on 9 games. This could be a huge swing for either of us, but we'll see what happens on. I would say what happens on Sunday, but we've got a lot of Thursday games, we've got a Friday game, and we've got a Monday game. So we will see what happens this week across the NFL. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode of Any Given Sunday. All of your viewership, all of your support, it really does mean the world for us. All of our social medias are going to be linked in the description. So our Instagram, our TikTok, and our X/Twitter account all will be linked in the description, as well as the YouTube channel for our executive producer, Holt Hendershot. Thank you so much to him. He really helps a lot with editing, setting up, packing up, and a lot of the work behind the scenes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a very, very great holidays. Have really happy holidays.
And happy Thanksgiving specifically. We will see you all next week for a much shorter slate than the mammoth 17 games we covered in record time this week. Thank you all for watching. We will see you next week.
Awesome. Loved it.
Dub.
Got it done. Only 107.
Yeah, dude. That, I mean, we're looking at an hour 16.